The story of the 1952 wheat penny begins in the heart of American history, when the Lincoln cent design featuring the famous wheat reverse was still a symbol of national pride and economic recovery. The wheat penny, as collectors call it, was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can be found on some early issues. The coin was meant to honor Lincoln's legacy and mark a new chapter in American coinage, as it was the first U.S. cent to bear the image of an actual person. By 1952, the wheat penny had already become a familiar piece of American life, circulating through the hands of millions. During a time when the nation was recovering from World War II and moving into an era of prosperity and change, the coin was struck at 3 mints that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each mint left its small mark, either none for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. These mint marks today are key for collectors who study every detail of these coins. The composition of the 1952 wheat penny remained the same as in earlier years: 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a rich red-brown alloy that gave the coin its classic color. The penny measured 19 millimeters in diameter and weighed 3.11 grams, made of solid metal, unlike the later copper-plated zinc pennies that would appear decades later. The sound of the coin clinking against others in a pocket or cash register was a familiar part of daily life in 1952 America, when a single cent could still buy a piece of candy or contribute to a newspaper purchase. The design itself carried deep meaning. On the front, the portrait of Abraham Lincoln looked rightward, a symbol of leadership, honesty, and hope. The word liberty stood beside him, and the phrase, "In God we trust," curved above his head, reminding Americans of the values their nation held dear. Below the portrait sat the date, 1952, and sometimes the small mint mark. The reverse side displayed 2 wheat stalks curving inward like arms, holding the words "1 cent, United States of America," and the phrase "E pluribus unum," from many one. The wheat ears represented American agriculture and the hard-working spirit that had helped the country grow from its early days. When these pennies rolled off the presses in 1952, America was experiencing the dawn of the modern age. Families were buying new homes thanks to the GI Bill. Children were watching early television shows, and cars were becoming a symbol of freedom and success. In that atmosphere, the humble penny still carried the face of Lincoln, the man who had preserved the Union and ended slavery. It was a reminder of history in a pocket of change. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number of 1952 wheat pennies, more than 186 million pieces. The Denver Mint followed with over 400 million, making the 1952 D penny the most common of the three. The San Francisco Mint made fewer, around 137 million. These numbers may seem large, but over time millions of coins were worn down, lost, melted, or simply forgotten, making well-preserved examples a treasure today. Collectors prize the 1952 wheat penny not only for its design and history, but also for the variations and conditions that affect its value. Some pennies from that year have doubled die errors, where the lettering or date appears slightly doubled under magnification, caused by a misalignment in the die during production. Others may show repunched mint marks, tiny signs that the mint mark was stamped more than once. All these small details turn an ordinary penny into a fascinating piece of history for numismatists who study and collect coins. A typical circulated 1952 penny found in pocket change might be worth only a few cents above its face value, but if it is uncirculated with its original red luster, it could fetch several dollars or even more. Rare varieties and high-grade specimens, graded by professional coin services, can command prices in the hundreds, especially those with near-perfect surfaces, free of scratches or spots. To understand why collectors value the 1952 wheat penny, it helps to see it as part of a larger story. The wheat penny series ran from 1909 until 1958, a long era that spanned 2 world wars, the Great Depression and the rise of the United States as a global power. Every coin tells a piece of that journey. The 1952 issue stands near the end of the wheat penny's life, only 6 years before the reverse. Design would change to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, marking the coin's 50th anniversary. During the 1950s, the United States Mint began improving production methods, adopting newer presses, and refining die-making technology. The coins of that decade generally have sharper details and cleaner strikes than earlier wartime issues which had suffered from metal shortages. In 1952, the copper used came mostly from domestic sources since the wartime. Restrictions were long gone. The quality of metal and the precision of minting gave these coins a bright finish that collectors still appreciate. If you hold a 1952 penny today, you hold a link to that post-war optimism. Each coin may have. As the decades passed, the wheat penny became part of daily life through the Roaring Twenties, the Great Depression, and both world wars. During the 1930s, when times were hard, a penny meant something real. It could buy food or save towards something important. During World War II, the mint even changed the composition of the penny to zinc-coated steel in 1943, because copper was needed for bullets and shell casings. When the war ended, the mint returned to copper, and by 1952, America was back to stability and growth. The early 1950s were years of optimism. Dwight D. Eisenhower had been elected president, and the nation was embracing the post-war boom. Suburbs were growing, cars were rolling off assembly lines, televisions were entering homes, and the economy was thriving. The 1952 penny circulated in that world of progress and confidence, yet it still carried the image of the man who had led the country through its darkest hour. It was a bridge between past and present, between the struggles of the Civil War and the prosperity of the modern age. At the time, coins were still struck using large mechanical presses. Each blank copper planchet was carefully fed into the press, where 2 steel dies, one bearing the obverse with Lincoln's portrait, and one bearing the reverse with the wheat design, came together under tons of pressure, stamping the design into the metal. Each mint operated independently, and each produced slightly different characteristics in strike and color. Denver coins often showed sharper mint marks, while San Francisco coins tended to have a darker tone. The Philadelphia Mint produced the most coins and was known for its smooth, even surfaces. Even though the 1952 penny was common in circulation, collectors of that era were already beginning to save rolls of uncirculated cents from banks and post offices, knowing that the wheat reverse might eventually be replaced. By the mid-1950s, these collectors were proven right, as plans were already underway to design a new reverse for the coin that would debut in 1959, featuring the Lincoln Memorial. For many Americans,